joints right here, man, that you play when you feeling down on your ism ride. Play this shit right here and resuscitate your pimpin' and get you right back on your mission, right? For you hoes, this that shit you play when you ain't feeling like super hoe today. Play this shit right here and spark up your hoeing and get you right back going, you dig? Dig this. Pimps for real, don't mistake it for fashion. The turf that birthed my reputation for mashing was the track with active, attractive hoes. Professional goers that attract the dough. Like magnets to metal, never settle. We scorching them fag bitches pedal for them portions. My whores win it all. Not the ones on the sideline wishing but didn't ball in the guidelines. My bitches did it all. Down 7 below in the snow for dough. Over 120 in the sun for fun. They mash for hours, hooker baths, not showers. Bright and early, down and dirty for the cash and power. They gotta get the cash, the towers, and reach it all to a pimp. In my position, I'm all but exempt. These bras not wimps, I'm like them renegade bitches. BFFs with tricks but never getting paid riches. Grenade bitches, they dynamite, blowing up on the pimp and then missing when the time is right. But when they life gets strife, they see pimpin' shining bright, but they action is life without. Bitch, one strike you out. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. See, that's the difference, nigga. The pimpin' mashing for these riches, nigga. Nothing like you master magician niggas. Smoking mirrors with your game, hella extras to reflect the opposite appearance of a lame. Bitches coming from y'all, I can't rock with those. Tender-footed and rooted in them doctor shows. Soft shoe rituals, minute residuals. Papers on life support, your loot's and critical. Something I learned about when running my earned route and working with turnouts is murdering burnouts. Cause knocking one of you niggas for a scarred bitch, that's knocking one of you niggas for some garbage. I'm heartless regardless, empty with sympathy, but banked up to the max with pimpathy. No remedy for me, I'm like this. My life is vice grip, synced in permanent ink. You can't rewrite this. My blood type is P positive, beautifully deposited with a lot of it. I'm popping this shit, and when I pop it so hard I make a trapping ass bad bitch wanna hoe hard. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Come on, pimpin', man, pop that shit. Show these sucker niggas they can't stop that shit. Let these hookers know if they wanna cop that shit. Treat the bag like it's hot, bitch, and drop that shit. And to you hoes, if you ever took a loss, bitch, show these bitches how to bounce back like a boss, bitch. Let them know that the best way to floss, bitch, is reach that paper to some pimpin' hoe and toss it. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga, can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. All right, man, we right back at it, man. Y'all already know what to do, man. Wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Hit that like button. Pimp done already ran through this joint. Y'all already know my first order of business. I got to hydrate my game as usual with this big ass bottle. Hold on. Bottle just like ridiculously big. Cheers to the game. Now, sure a lot of y'all might be familiar with the latest buzzing around with the girl Saweetie. So we gonna give a game's perspective on this. You dig? Let's first. Damn, I thought oh shit, I'm tripping. Let's go see what's going on. Hold up, I'm pulling everything up right now. They got so many people giving reactions and reviews to this shit. Come on, man, damn. They putting everything in Spanish for a pimp. I ain't trying to do that. Okay, so you feel y'all in like Craig David, man, on what's going on with Saweetie. Now, as far as I know, and I think it's some things that I gotta even get up to speed on with this whole situation, but you know, Saweetie, as many of you know, has had some success in the music industry as a female rapper, right? And one would assume, especially people who don't really understand how the music industry works and how the lifestyles of a lot of these entertainers tend to be, one would assume like, oh man, Saweetie, you know, she rich. She got hit records, she got music, she done been in relationships with Quavo and all these different people and this, that, and the third, you know, Saweetie, you know, she rich. But there's always more than meets the eye, and things don't always appear, or things are not always as they appear to be. You did. So there's this chick by the name of Maybach May, right? And we're going to get off into it. But just to, you know, summarize what's going on before we get into it. This chick named Maybach May, right? Now, she looked like she's East African or something. But whatever the case, you know, she, from the way things are being put out there, is a type of female that has connections with different, you know, rich and famous guys with a lot of money and status. And she lines different females up different working girls. She lines them up to, get with these different rich and powerful and famous men that she has on deck, right? So she's kind of like I guess you could say like Heidi Fleiss 2.0. She called herself being like a female, I guess you could say madam or something like that, right? This Maybach May chick. And according to Maybach May, she hooked Saweetie up with this, I believe dude is a soccer player or football as the rest of the world calls it. He's a rich and famous soccer player. And, Saweetie got at her about possibly getting with dude and getting some money from dude, basically dating him, right? And girl like, yeah, I can line that up, wooty woo. So girl sets it up, but Saweetie takes things a step further and starts a relationship with this dude. So they become boyfriend and girlfriend, right? So, and then they kind of go public with things. They seen in places together, they kind of like interacting with each other on in front of the world. So to the unknowing eyes, minds, and ears, they would probably think that, Saweetie just met this dude, they liked each other, and they start dating, and then now they boyfriend and girlfriend, they just got to a relationship, right? Not understanding how their encounter started, which was a transactional encounter. It wasn't they just so happened to be in the same place at the same time, met each other, liked each other, and then it evolved into a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. No, it was a thing where dude, he was willing to pay to play with Saweetie. It started out that way, but then Saweetie really wanted to sink her teeth into this dude because she know he got bread and status. So, she took it a step further and made dude into her boyfriend. And I guess they was dating for a little while. I don't know what became of that. But, I already know Saweetie is probably trying to, at this point, do a whole lot of damage control and save face and all that type of stuff. But, this really doesn't surprise me. But we're going to get off into it, man. Let's check out. Now, MTR, he done spoke on it. This ain't the first video, though. Okay, this is O'Shea's video, and I think I did watch this one before. We're going to check out O'Shea's video on it.
Blind Adams have been saying this for a while, but now there is a woman on Instagram who is accusing Saweetie of being a yacht girl. And for those of you who don't know what a yacht girl is, it's basically a girl who sells cookies, but she's not a Girl Scout.
You may not have heard of this young lady because I haven't either. Her name is Maybach May. If you look at her Instagram, it doesn't seem like she has a whole lot of stuff popping. She just looks like the average chick with a BBL and a nice body.
Yeah, and so, that's another thing that probably makes Saweetie think or made her believe early on in this situation that nobody was probably going to believe this Maybach May chick because she's not famous. She's not very popular on social media. At this time, 2 weeks ago, she only had like 25,000 subscribers. It made me want to see if she got more than that now. She had 25,000 subs. Two weeks ago. Let's see where she's at now. She ain't went up too much. She done gained about 6,000 some change subscribers, you know what I mean? Followers on IG. But you see, this is why game is necessary, man. Game is very necessary, and we're gonna talk about it. But let's continue with O'Shea.
And nothing else is to be seen there, right? But that's what you think. Just because somebody don't have a whole lot of followers, it don't mean that they're not important in the industry. And according to this chick, she's more important than we think. Fast forward. Maybach May is one of the largest madams in the industry. And what Maybach May does is she connects a lot of beautiful women to rich men all over the world. She's going to Dubai, Lagos, Europe, wherever you think that the rich guys are at, she has them in her system. And a lot of girls want to deal with Maybach May because she's the connection to all the guys with the money. And one of those ladies allegedly is Saweetie. Now, if you look,
That should be killing me how chicks be doing this with their eyebrows, but hey, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, so from the way it seems, now mind you, you have a lot of chicks that have opportunities to get around these rich and famous and powerful men, right? But a lot of chicks, especially ones who ain't really gamed up like that, they'll get in these types of situations and be able to rub elbows and even do transactions with these different guys, but they don't think beyond that. They might have a cool night, get maybe some thousands of dollars, and then they just leave it at that, right? But then you have other chicks that's like, you know what? I'm going to get in these circles. I'm going to rub elbows with as many people as I can, make a rapport with as many people as I can, and I'm going to start lining people up with these people, right? So that's what it seemed like this Maybach May chick be doing. I'm pretty sure she be dating these guys as well, but as she dates them, she builds a rapport with them, and then she's like, yo, I got this other girl for you, or I got this girl for you, or I got this girl for your friend. What type of girl's your friend like? Okay, I got a girl like that for him. And she just moves around and does things like that. And now she's built a reputation for herself, for her, connections. And whenever certain women need money or they trying to, have certain opportunities, they come to her. But let's continue.
at Saweetie's Instagram following, she got 12.4 million followers. Why would Saweetie be working with a lady that got 25,000 followers?
Because Saweetie don't have no game, obviously. And it's sad because Saweetie is from the Bay. And, you would think that her being from the Bay, some type of game, some type of little sprinkle or drizzle of game, splashed on her a little bit. But she's a clear example of how just because somebody might be from the Bay or Northern California or California West Coast period, coming from certain environments, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is gamed up and knows how to move and shake and do things like that. Because look what O'Shea just pointed out. She got over 12 million followers on IG. I can't remember how many subs she got on YouTube and Spotify and all that type of stuff, but her monthly listeners and all that type of shit, pretty sure it's up there, right? But basically, Saweetie has some leverage that if she had the game to go with that leverage, she could, in the words of Larry June, she could do some numbers. You dig? But she don't have the leverage, or she don't have the game to go with the leverage. So it's like a sandwich, two pieces of bread with nothing in it. You know what I mean? The two pieces of bread is the leverage that she got, but the game would be, the slice of turkey or the slice of ham and the cheese and the mayo and mustard and all the trimmings that go with the sandwich. She pretty much is like two pieces of bread with no meat in the middle, no substance in the middle, no game in the middle. You dig?
Well, here's a story. Password! Maybach May had a connection with a guy by the name of Jadon Sancho. Now, he plays in the Premier European League. I think it's Manchester United. I'm not necessarily sure. But the guy makes a lot of money, like over $180,000 per week. And this dude is...
Okay, so if he make over $150,000 a week, you know, it's safe to say that he got some cool bread. But if you're a Saweetie and you have the leverage that Saweetie has, man, dude is cool and everything like that, but Saweetie, you come on now, and you from the United States. You know, you be in all these different places. See, the type of leverage that this Maybach May chick got, like Saweetie can do that on her own, but this is the results of somebody not having no game. Like whoever this Maybach May chick can introduce Saweetie to, Saweetie should be able to reach that individual without the assistance of this Maybach May chick, right? And see, you know, chicks don't understand. And this is why game is so necessary, and this is why it's a beautiful thing to have some game in your life as a young lady, right? No matter what it is that you're doing, whether you rapping, singing, tap dancing, prancing, taking chances, whatever it is that you're doing. It's just good to have some game in your life, because if Saweetie has some game in her life, like if she had a freezes it in her life, there would have been no Maybach May nowhere in the mix. Like, you know, we shutting that down. You're not even supposed to know. This girl ain't even supposed to know you. You're Saweetie, right? And then people are so stupid. That's why it's so imperative to have game. Bitch, why are you texting this conversation with her? Why are you having any kind of conversation with her like this over the phone? What is wrong with you? If you texting her, she could screenshot it. If you talking over the phone, she could record your voice talking with her. If you're FaceTiming, she could screen record it. These kind of conversations don't happen over the phone. And they don't happen over the phone with somebody that you barely know. You don't even really know this girl. You just know her reputation and what she makes happen. So not just that, but then, you know, if you're a Saweetie, you should be going after somebody that makes more than what this guy make. He make decent money, 150 bands a month. You know, that's cool. That's what, like 18 million, 1.8 million a year. That's cool. But when you're a Saweetie, you should be able to make 1.8 million on your own with your leverage without having to date anybody and all that type of shit. But if you do want to date somebody, you should be dating somebody big. Because, you know, you're not thinking about the way people see you. You're not thinking about your image and how so many rich guys fantasize over your ass. You know, I know you think you just still the same little regular girl from the hood and all that, or wherever you from or whatever you done did and all that type of shit. But, you know, you got to think about how the world see you, how men see you, in the variety of the different types of men and how they see you. You know, if you understood your leverage, which if you had a freezes it or something, you know, like that in your life, you would understand your leverage. This whole messy nonsense wouldn't even be going on. And even if it was going on, guess what? You'll have a whole lot more money out of the situation. Because guess what? Just because this young man makes, you know, 1.8 million, close to 2 million, and then, you know, if you factor in like endorsements and all that type of shit, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say he make a few million a year. Just because the guy makes a few million a year don't mean that he just finna break you off a few million. You want somebody that's making hundreds of millions or billions a year that, you know, for you to get a few million out of them ain't nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. You did when you're a Saweetie. But when you're aimless, gameless, you know what I mean? This is the results, you dig? Oh, wait, I'm tripping. I'm saying, yeah, I'm tripping. My math is all messed up. I'm thinking 150K a month. Yeah, he said 150K a week. So 150K a week, that's some pretty good money. That's what? That's more like 7 and some change, 7 million and some change a year. You know, and again, like I said, that's still some good bread. But when you Saweetie, you should be able to make that on your own. You should be able to make 7 million a year by yourself without having to date somebody. And if you're going to resort to dating somebody, setting that thing out there with a price tag on it, you should be reaching much higher. But guess what? When you ain't got no game, this the type of shit you do. And not only do you do this type of shit, but you do it in the sloppiest of ways. Let's continue.
Known for tricking on women. Like, he is known for spending a whole lot of money. So basically what Maybach May did was say, listen, Saweetie, I got this dude, and he's a younger guy. He's like 21. And you know, Saweetie is closer to being like 30. So look, this young dude, if you deal with him, he'll spend money on you. But here's what you got to do. You got to pay me my money, and you know, whatever else you get from him, you can keep. But as long as I get my cut, I'm cool.
And see, this is the problem with bras. You know, bras are just so trifling and selfish and scandalous and all that type of shit. You know, let's say that the Maybach May chick, she hooks it up, right? And Saweetie, you know, she think it's small. So she probably thinking, you know, I could get a little, you know, a few $100,000 out this guy, or maybe even $1 million or $2 million or something, and that'll be cool. Why wouldn't you take care of the girl that took care of you, that made it even possible in the first place? Because obviously you don't have enough game or anything like that to get with this dude by yourself without her. So you involve the chick, she lines it up, she makes it happen. Why would you not take care of the girl? That's just trifling, like, you know, and you reap what you sow. See, these bitches that do stuff like that, that's what the part of life and the part of the game that they don't understand. There's no way around it. You reap what you sow. You cannot avoid that. You can't do the Barry Sanders. You can't, you know, do the Emmitt Smith on that. You are going to reap what you sow. And even after all of this going on right now, I know she still don't realize that.
Right, you know.
And here's a text message that's even explaining that. Here it says, what you doing? We should do a big bear trip with good friends, group, co-ed. Oh my God, it's so nice here. And even that code is 2 hours from LA. At the studio, girl, all my friends out of state. When bees run it up on Jadon, how much they doing in a weekend?
See, like, how gameless can you be? Like, bitch, you from California. What's wrong with you? You making us look bad. Like, God damn. I know it's stupid people everywhere, but damn. You know what I mean? In the words, see, this is just prime example in the words of my bro, man, Sinful to P. You can't avoid stupid bitch season. It's unavoidable. And this is a prime example of that. Like, why would you have this kind of conversation via text message with somebody? And you're Saweetie. You don't think that this person's going to screenshot every single thing that you send them?
Woo! Now, this is evidence, right? Fast forward! But here's what Saweetie did. She fell in love with Jadon, or got Jadon to fall in love with her.
Yeah, nah, she ain't fall in love with the dude. She got dude to fall in love with him. And see, that's another thing too, another problem. Like, see, this situation, it ain't no different than a broad jumping in the car with a trick on the blade, and then she turned that trigger to her boyfriend, then she move in with the trick, start a family, have a baby with the trick, but she met him as a trick. This shit right here ain't no different. You know, now if you just build, you know, turn dude into your regular and all that, and he breaking you off every time, you know, that's cool. But bitch, you're not supposed to turn this guy into your boyfriend. You know, this is again the results of thinking small. You know, because again, obviously she done made him fall in love with her. I know she ain't in love with him, but she's thinking that she got to do all this extra shit in order to get a little bit of bread from him, which, you know, a lot of bread to somebody else would be a little bit of bread for her because of, you know, her capabilities. So for her, whatever he's giving her is only a little bit of bread. It's only a little bit of bread for her and what she's capable of, the type of leverage that she got. Just thinking too damn small.
She ended up in a full relationship with Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho ended up getting, you know, a tattoo of her, I think like on his neck or something like that. And basically,
and see, you stupid, bitch, because why you let that young man do that? See, this is the results of no game. She flattered by all that type of shit. Like, ooh, he's a famous football player. Ooh, he got money and status and everything, and he gonna put a tattoo of me on his neck? Ooh, I'm feeling myself. You're stupid. You have zero game. You're not supposed to let that young man do that. I'm pretty sure he talked to her about it before he did it. You supposed to tell him, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
they got into a full-blown relationship and basically cut off Maybach May. And so this is the problem at Bay. Maybach May is saying, listen, you owe me money and you was out here dealing with the dude that I set you up with, and now you don't want to pay me? Let's go back to that first text message. She goes, Sancho, after you done paying and getting tattoos of a 304, you barely know. Run me my money. She hates her career, so you come right on time like the trick you are. I just want what y'all owe me. So
I can't lie, man. I probably need to slide into this Maybach May broad's DM, man, and shoot my shot, put my bid in, man. You know, that might be my next breaking in the making, man, because I like the way she think, man. You know, and she seemed like she got a little game about herself, man. I wouldn't be surprised if she got some, you know, did she, you know, somebody quarterbacking the situation with her, you know what I mean? But hey, man, you know, shit, she ain't heard what Freeze got to say to her ass, you know. Shit, I might have to get somebody that phone call in the morning, man. Like, yeah, man, yeah, just man, just let you know, man, that that Maybach May. Yeah. She done came and gave me that playback pay, you dig? So yeah, man, I just wanted to let you know, man, she over here with this game though, man. She, you know, she ain't disappeared or nothing like that. She didn't do the Houdini, she did the Houdini and came and reached it on over to a pimp. You dig? Yeah, man, happy pimping, man. You know, I might have to give somebody a phone call like that though, you dig? Yeah, man. And then she called old boy Sancho. She cold-blooded with that shit. Hey, Sancho, man. Yeah. After you done paying and getting tattoos and all that, man. Yeah. And then she pointed out how Saweetie hate her career. She obviously gotta hate her career. You know what I mean? And then that be the thing too, man. You know, these girls, or not just these girls, but just these young people, period. You know, they get into the entertainment industry, whether they singers, rappers, actors, you know, all that type of stuff, and they go to these Hollywood parties with all these other different celebrities, and then they start getting involved in drugs and, you know, start developing bad habits and, you know, destroying their body, destroying their mind, making dumbass decisions and shit like that. You know what I mean? So that plays a major role in it too. You know, it don't matter what you try to resort to, try to get with one of these, you know, big old tricks and stuff like that. If you got bad habits, which I wouldn't be surprised if Saweetie do. I don't know her personally. I ain't never been around her, but I just know how these young chicks be. They very easily influenced. You know, see, people see a broad and think because she pretty that means she's smart. Or in Saweetie's case, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Saweetie got degrees. I think she got college degrees and shit like that. People would think that because somebody got college degrees that they smart. I done had bitches with college degrees that's stupid as hell. Dumb. You'll be amazed, like, damn, how the hell did this chick graduate from college? How the hell did she get some degrees? She is stupid. Like, what institution gave this dumbass broad a diploma and degrees and all this? Like, who's responsible for this shit? Made this dumbass broad think she was smart, had a brain. Then on the other hand, you got chicks that ain't graduated high school that's brilliant, that's smart as hell. You know, so the bottom line is you can't let the appearance be the interference, man. I say all of that to say people look at Saweetie, you know, she went to college, she's pretty, you know, I don't really know none of her songs. I don't listen to her music like that, but you know, some of y'all probably like her music and just think that, like, you know, she's smart and all knowing and all that type of shit. But behind the scenes, all of that, these bitches be having bad habits. You know, her crib, wherever she stay at, is probably dirty as hell. You know what I mean? Bitch probably got skid marks in her panties right now. Just all that type of shit. You'd be surprised at how some of these chicks be living in real life, man. You know? And that's why this type of shit, it might surprise somebody else, but it ain't no surprise to me, man. You know, I know how these chicks be. You dig?
Obviously, Jadon didn't pay her, and Saweetie must have told him not to pay. Now, what else? Cocaine, witchcraft, and liquor is one hell of a mix. Send me my bread home record. What?
What'd she say? Cocaine, liquor, and what? Cocaine, witchcraft, and liquor. And see, the powder for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was even some more harder drugs in the mix, but the cocaine, hell yeah. I think all the bitches do that shit. You know what I mean? All of them is doing the powder for sure. She snow powder on the under. Where Messy Marv when you need him, man. She snow powder on the under. First you get a name, then you get a number. She snow powder on the under. That's why it ain't no wonder. Lil' mama do a thing, it's no powder on the under. Yeah, man. Saweetie over there doing powder on the under, man. We ain't surprised by it.
Woo! Now, before I get into the rest of the screenshots, I kind of want to get into what Saweetie is kind of known for.
Saweetie is allegedly a yacht girl who makes far more money from yachting than she does from her music career.
And that's a damn shame. And I you know, people on the internet, they don't really know, all these internet detectives and shit like that. They gonna say shit for clicks and likes and views and all that type of shit, right? But I'll say that I don't know if she makes more money with this quote unquote yachting shit than she does from her music. But what I also will say is that I'm pretty sure that whatever she makes from entertainment, she's very irresponsible with that shit. You know, a lot of these people don't be having money like they appear to be. They be having sponsors and, you know, deals and all types of shit to make it look like they got a lot of money, but they really don't. You know, it's a lot of people in the streets, or it's a lot of underground rappers that's having more money than a lot of these mainstream people. You know what I mean? It's certain rappers on the underground level that's probably getting more money than some of these people, you know. And then I don't know, Saweetie probably ain't got the you stupid Timothy Oliver freeze with the vocals. You know, but then, you know, this is why you see a difference between people like a Beyonce versus everybody else. The work ethic, man. you know, and you have somebody like a Saweetie who, again, I don't really know her music like that, but I know she's popular, and she probably has the potential to be on the level of like a Cardi B or a Meg Thee Stallion or any of them, you know, but the work ethic more than likely ain't there, you know, so she ain't gonna get there, man, but let's continue.
And according to this blind item, she allegedly has a substance abuse problem that is making her messy and causing her to lose yachting clients. And the blind item reads, this A-minus list Nepo baby, who's a rapper, singer, niece, cousin, and granddaughter of famous names, earns way more from yachting each week than from her actual music.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So MC Hammer, I think, is her uncle, like her blood uncle. Gabrielle Union, I think, is her blood cousin. And then Willie Harper. Willie Harper used to play for the 49ers back in the day. That's her grandfather. That's, I think, her dad's dad, because I think her mama is Asian or something like that. So, yeah, these people was like really her family. But that shit obviously don't mean nothing.
Substance habit has gotten out of control, and the messiness is driving clients away fast.
So Saweetie is known for being a yacht girl. So this is the girl who doesn't really advertise that they're selling cheeks, but they are selling cheeks. And again, this young lady already mentioned that Saweetie has a drug problem. And this other lady here is saying that, hey, Saweetie is out here clapping cheeks, and a lot of clients are tired of her and her drug issues. And she's not the only person to mention this sort of freestyling idea.
You need to build your brand up so that you're not known as a 304, because what men really like, they like freestylers better, okay? They don't want a girl to be posting ads online and stuff. No, they want to feel like they just stumbled across a beautiful woman, and for this price, they could have access.
Yeah, you have tricks out there like that, but bitch, knock it off. If Saweetie had ads posted somewhere, yeah, they gonna pay for that shit too, you know. But of course, because she's Saweetie, she don't have to post ads nowhere. That's why she's basically advising girls to follow the route that Saweetie went, which is build your brand up so that way you don't gotta post ads. Everybody know who you are. And if they know that you're setting that thing out there for a price, they'll gladly pay it. Yeah, that's true. But see, when you have what Saweetie has going on, you shouldn't have to resort to that. I'm gonna just be all the way real. When you have what Saweetie has going on, you shouldn't have to resort to setting that thing out there transactionally. Because there's so much legal money and big money available to somebody like Saweetie, but when you ain't got no game, and then if it's true what they alleging as far as her having substance abuse problems, and then on top of that, she probably just like a dusty ass, ratchet ass, you know, nothing ass bitch at heart. This is the results. But see, what she don't understand is, even if, you know, if you got substance abuse problems and you ain't got no game, you got all these other little issues, it don't matter what type of clientele you come across, it's gonna be null and void. You know, because it's like putting money in a pocket that got a hole in it. And every time you put some money in the pocket, it falls out the hole, runs down your pants leg, and just falls as you walking around, and you keep seeing that your pockets is empty and you don't understand why. That's pretty much what's going on with her, except for a hole in her pocket. You know, she got bad habits and no game. So because of that, you know, she gonna spend beyond her means. She gonna be irresponsible with the bread. She ain't gonna make no investments. She ain't gonna do nothing smart or wise with the whatever kind of money she does getting on her hands on. And you know, she just gonna keep being destructive. You know, she the type of person that she could probably get like a $10 or $50 million deal right now, and she gonna run through it on stupid shit, be broke, and then look up and be like, damn, how come I'm broke right now? I ain't got no money. Like, I just had 50 million. You ain't got no game, dummy.
So, you know, this lady has a good point. Like, people don't want you to be advertising your cheeks out there, but they want to know that you're down with the get down. And it gets even worse.
I'm not saying that her music is a cover up. No, it's not a cover up. She's an entertainer that goes along with it. So like a child actor grows up, then they're known for being a 304 all of a sudden, but not to regular people. As far as you guys know, they're just a singer, a dancer, an actor, a YouTuber, anything, an influencer. A lot of high-end 304s are actually influencers, and that's what builds your brand better. Why do you think I'm in so many people's YouTube videos? I'm on podcasts like Fresh and Fit. I'm in 20v1s with Kodak. It's all because it builds your persona. It builds your brand.
Bitch, that shit ain't finna build nothing. You know how many bum ass bitches be on 20v1s? You know how many bum ass bitches be on Fresh and Fit? I'm talking about real life homeless. Homeless females be on Fresh and Fit. You know, I done been around Miami, so I know. I told y'all the story before, man, of where my partner had moved this one chick and I was with him, right? I was riding with him and he had moved this little chick, pretty little chick, man, gorgeous. And we in Miami, man. And, you know, he kick it with her, rap with her for a minute, shoot a shot, all that. And then when it was time to part ways with her, he went and dropped her off at the shelter. He dropped his broad off at the homeless shelter. And guess what I seen next week? Seen her on Fresh and Fit. I'm like, God damn. This broad was just at the shelter. Now, mind you, I was around him and her for a little minute, so she popping it, talking about she got this rich husband and this, that, and the third, but they separated right now and all of this bullshit. But bitch, you stand at the shelter. And then, you know, you get on Fresh and Fit and you think that, you know, that's doing something. So when she talking about like 20v1s and Fresh, that shit don't mean nothing. It's bums doing that.
This way, when I say, hey, I want X amount, it makes sense because I'm an entertainer. I'm a celebrity.
No, you're not.
She's breaking down the whole playbook for influencers. If you look at somebody like Saweetie, she's always on like 20 versus 1 shows. She's always on like podcasts, the Fresh and Fit. Like she moves around and you don't really see a whole lot of the better rappers doing that. Like
exactly. You heard what O'Shea just said. Like who?
Cardi B. And to be honest,
right. You know what I mean? And see, this is further confirmation of what I'm saying, that Saweetie just thinks very small. Because if you're a Saweetie, you're a famous rapper, everybody know who you are, you got hit records under your belt. Why are you doing 20v1s? Why are you going on Fresh and Fit? That's low level, bottom of the barrel shit that like I said, this is what homeless bitches, real life homeless bitches be doing this shit, man. Like, why are you doing this? Who is your manager? Why is your manager allowing this? You ain't got no game. Your management ain't got no game. This is just how you know, man, because if I was her folks or if I was her manager or anybody in her life that was like directly like dealing with her and close to her or whatever, no, you're not doing no damn 20v1s. You're not going on Fresh and Fit. Hell no. You know? See, when you a rapper, see, that's the problem. That's the problem with the music industry in today's times, right? You know, there's not a lot of rappers and singers who, well, I ain't gonna say it ain't a lot, but what I will say is that there are a lot of rappers and singers who cannot maintain a music career at a high level just off their music. They got to do a lot of other shit. They got to go on podcasts and sit down for an hour. They got to do stupid antics online to go viral. You know, they got to start a controversy with somebody. You know, they got to date this famous person and all this old type of shit. They got to sleep with 50 different rappers. They got to do something, you know, outrageous outside of the music because their music just ain't enough. And the music could be enough. They just don't see it as being enough. They don't see themselves as having the ability to, you know, sustain a music career just off their music. So they do a whole bunch of other shit like this stupid ass 20v1s. Like, that's cool, but if you're a rapper like Saweetie, you shouldn't, with 12 million followers, you shouldn't have to do nothing like that.
B, you know, did mention that Saweetie was doing stuff like this. Remember that Saweetie was with Quavo, and then Saweetie ended up sleeping with Offset, which caused some tension between the whole Migos crew and all of that.
And see, that's stupid. That's stupid as hell. You know, like, if anything, if you had some game, see, this is why bitches be stupid, man. If you had some game, you would be keeping the relationship cool with Quavo, and then you and Cardi B would be like sisters. You were trying to get so tight with Cardi B that y'all like sisters. You know, and then now, you know, Cardi B love you like a sister. Offset love you like a sister. Quavo in love with you as his woman. You know, now you in the mix with some people that's like superstars. And then you start collabing with them. This why, you know, bitches just think small. Like, why would you fuck Offset? Like, bitch, you're stupid. You know, you supposed to play it like that. And, you know, just picture Saweetie doing a joint album with Cardi B. You know how big that would be? Far as I know, you know, I don't think Cardi B done did a joint project with anybody else. Just picture a joint project with Saweetie and Cardi B. Think about how big that would be. Think about how all the top-notch producers is going to be running to the studio to get on that project. Think about all the other rappers is going to be running to get a feature on that album. Like, bitch, you're not thinking. You think too damn small. And this is just something that I'm just coming up with off the top of my head. Let alone if I was like her folks or her manager or something like that. Listen, we finna play this big. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Offset, he checking you out and everything like that. Leave it at that. Don't mess with that man. Keep everything cool with Quavo. You know, keep everything cool with Cardi B. No. Like, I know you seen him looking at you, you know what I mean, when y'all was at the whatever event the other day, you know what I mean? He was checking you out. You know he'll go there with you if you want him to. But no. You know, that's going to jeopardize everything if you do that. We're not doing that. Don't do that. You know, it's how you know people are stupid. Managers is stupid. Artists is stupid. Everybody in the mix be stupid. And they all got the same thing in common. They abhor game. They have zero appreciation for game. They don't think, you know, 5 minutes in front of themselves. They don't think about the future. They don't think about nothing down the line. They just stupid.
Like, I mean, Saweetie just is down bad for real. Like, just down bad as hell. But check this out.
I have said it before, and I get crucified for it. People get so mad every single time I bring it up. But your favorite musicians are not very wealthy. Like, there's no money to be made in the music industry. A lot of them are broke.
Now, I ain't going to say that it ain't no money to be made in the music industry. That's not true. And then, you know, there's something more valuable than just the money being made from the music itself. When you're a famous rapper, it gives you the leverage to make money so many different ways. This is why you need game. What she talking about ain't no money to be made in the music industry. That's not why these rappers are broke. She's telling the truth as far as a lot of these rappers being broke. That's true. A lot of these rappers ain't got the type of money that you would think they got. That is true. But as far as ain't no money to be made in the music industry, that is false. You just got to have some game. And you got to have some work ethic and some diligence about yourself. But if you got some game, you're going to be good. But when you somebody like Saweetie and you ain't got no game and you think small as hell, of course you're going to be broke.
Some of the influencers on this app make more money than your favorite musicians. And the reason why, it's not just because, I think especially this applies especially like in hip hop, it's not just because they don't get paid that much. It's also because they get paid a decent amount. It's because their lifestyle is extremely expensive.
Now that, yeah, see, now she breaking it down a little further, and I agree with her a little bit more on that. You know, the lifestyle is expensive, but at the same time, you know, see me, I always think to myself, like, every day, like, I want to make more money today than I spent. And if more rappers had that simple philosophy about themselves, they would be cool. Like Saweetie. If she say to herself, okay, I'm going to probably spend $50,000 today, which means I need to make $100,000 today or $200,000 today. If she thought like that, or not just her, but like a lot of these people, if they thought like that, and they very well can do that if they put their mind to it. Like if you're Saweetie and you wake up this morning and you say to yourself, I want to make $100,000 today, you should be able to do that. For real. But they don't think like that. They like spending money, but they don't like making money as much as they like spending money. Everybody likes spending money, but, you know, a lot of these people don't like making it like they like spending it.
If you are in hip hop, part of being in hip hop is that you have to look rich. You have to pretend to be ultra wealthy, and living outside of your means is very expensive. It's not just like having a fancy house and owning cars, right? It's also like having a glam team all the time, having an agent, having a manager, having a social media person. All of that is very, very expensive.
And see, this is the thing too. Like I said, see, this is just another thing about the music industry that has become normal, right? See, if you go back and you look at rap videos and even like R&B videos, music videos from like the 90s on back, now around the mid 90s, you know, the rappers start becoming more lavish in their videos and stuff like that. But if you go further back, you know, you have a lot of rappers that was selling millions and millions of records, but they wasn't hella lavish. Like if, okay, like for instance, right? Snoop Dogg's first album, Doggy Style. That album broke records. That album went platinum in 2 days, and at the time, that was the fastest in the history of rap music that a rap album went platinum. Snoop Dogg went platinum, or back then he was Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Doggy Dogg went platinum in 2 days. It might have even been less than 2 days, but by 2 days he was platinum for sure, right? He ended up selling 5 million records in that year, and he was the biggest rapper in the world at the time. Now, if you look at his music videos, like that first video, What's My Name? Or Who Am I? Man, the video starts off with him at this girl's house. Ain't nothing fancy about the girl. Ain't nothing fancy about Snoop himself. You know, he had on I forget the name of that team, but he had a hockey jersey on and some khakis and some Chuck Taylors. You know what I mean? Then you see him in a different part of the video, you know, running with the dog pound. They running in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nothing fancy about that video. I think the fanciest thing about that video, they did have a part where him and Dr. Dre was like, I think they was leaning on a Lamborghini or something like that. But that wasn't even like the highlight of the video. You know, nothing but a G-Thang video. Yeah, they had a bunch of lowriders in that shit. But man, they was at a house party in the hood, you know, somebody's basement or some shit like that. You know, Dr. Dre go pick Snoop up, and yeah, he was in the 6'4", but man, Snoop stay in the hood with his mama. You know, he going in Snoop bedroom, Snoop in his little tiny ass bedroom. You know, he get up, throw his shirt on and shit like that with the special ed flat top and all that. Man, like, wasn't nothing fancy about these videos. But guess what? They was selling all the records. You know what I mean? They was selling all the records. If you go to Kanye, his first video, Through the Wire, Kanye made that video himself. There was nothing fancy about that video. I think he said he spent like $30,000 on that video, which would be a lot in today's times. But this is during a time where people spending like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million on music videos like it ain't shit. Kanye made a song with his jaw wired shut and then made a video with a bunch of different clips and just slapped the shit together, and that shit was a big ass hit, Through the Wire. But it wasn't nothing fancy about that. But so the reason why I'm pointing this out is because guess what? They wasn't going platinum off of the lavish lifestyle. They was going platinum because their music was good. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Public Enemy, you know, all of these people, NWA, like, you know, they was going platinum back then because their music was good, not because, oh man, you seen in the video, man, they was in a helicopter and then, you know, they jumped off the helicopter and they landed in a swimming pool. It was in a limousine, and the limousine was a Rolls Royce limousine, and then they drove up to this mansion, and then, you know, no, it wasn't all of that. They music was good. See, nowadays, these people, you got a lot of people with flashy ass videos. This music is trash. Straight up. You know. And, you know, that's the thing. Not saying Saweetie's music is trash. I don't know, because like I said, I don't really listen to her music. And even if her music is good, I already know it's not my type of music. You know, I'm not finna be listening to no broad that, you know, everything is pink and cuddly and all that. You know, I'm not finna be riding around bumping that shit. Like some people I know. I know dudes that be riding around playing that type of shit, but Freeze ain't one of them though. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, you know, game is necessary. You know, and then it still goes on. Like, look at J. Cole. J. Cole ain't no flashy dude. He's proof that you can still do that if your music is good enough. Kendrick ain't no flashy dude. Now, Kendrick's videos are super creative, and the creativity that goes into it is probably expensive, but he not no flashy dude. J. Cole ain't no flashy dude. You know, they're big because their music is good. But let's continue.
In your mind, you thought Saweetie was affording all that off of her music career when she's been in the game 10 years and has still not put out a debut album?
Now, this young lady mentioned something similar about your favorite influencers being broke. Now, for me, I'm looking at 12.4 million followers. I'm like, damn, you know, she must be doing good. But if you look at her lifestyle, she got to keep up that image, right? Like, that's how she got popular. Now, this is something that's interesting because somebody like me, as a YouTuber or a down bad influencer.
And let me just say, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. I know O'Shea got a lot more money than a lot of these rappers. I ain't gonna put his business out there, but O'Shea got more money than Saweetie, that's for sure.
Like, I got popular because of my commentary. Nobody follows me because I need to be extravagant or opulent or fashion based. And this is why a lot of YouTubers end up having more money than influencers, because
he's making the same point I just made right now. Now you do have YouTubers that do the whole lavish thing like that, and they got big ass followings and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like the boy Funny Mike. Funny Mike got a big nice ass house, and he got all these cars and all this type of shit. And it's several guys like that, that they presentation is real opulent, and they doing their thing and they getting a lot of money. But that's not even with Funny Mike. That's not the basis of why people watch him. If you do the whole lavish, expensive, accessories thing, that's supposed to accent with, the talent, but that's not supposed to be the main attraction.
people tend to watch us for us, and we don't have a pressure of trying to be, flashy or living a big lifestyle. That's the same thing with athletes. They don't have to actually live a rich lifestyle to be rich. Like Kawhi Leonard is a good example of that. But if you come in the game and you're a hot chick like Saweetie, you have a lifestyle, and if the money isn't coming in because the music industry doesn't pay it, you got to get that money somehow, all right? And so, and then also she's never had a debut album, so you're not making money from music. So what are you making money from?
And then again, I don't really know Saweetie's situation, but there's a very high likelihood that she signed a very messed up record deal. She probably got a messed up management deal with whoever's managing her, a messed up record deal with whoever she signed to. She probably signed to like 10 different agents, management companies, record labels, distribution, all this. She probably got like 10 different contracts with 10 different companies, and they all got their hands in the pot. So she probably getting, dug out with no Vaseline. And, these people, they probably getting her tour money. Whenever she do shows, they probably getting a big portion of that. Her endorsements, merchandise, whatever she got going on, I'm pretty sure it's like 20 people with their hands in the pot. Any kind of source of income that she got going on. If she features on a TV show, doing 20v1 things that she might be doing. If she going Fresh and Fit and they pay her. Whatever she got going on, it's 20 hands in the pot. And she barely walking away with anything, right? So that's another thing you got to factor in. These rappers, they don't really be smart. They don't be business minded. They don't know how to protect themselves. They're not inclined to protect themselves. So, a lot of people, they just be in such a hurry, and they might hear like, oh, Universal want to sign you, Atlantic want to sign you, Sony want to sign you. And they just be so excited that this major record label want to sign their ass. They don't care about the details of what they signing. They just sign their life away. And, that's another thing that we don't know either. She probably owe these labels up the ass.
There's more.
If you are ever trying to pocket watch your favorite celebrity and they're a musician specifically, right, you're trying to figure out if they're broke or not, all you have to do is check to see their endorsement deals, right? The more...
Eric Garrett, you stupid. That's exactly what she did. She signed a Big Red deal. She signed that Big Red contract. My office hours are 9 to 5. Yeah, she signed the Big Red records for sure.
Deals they have, the more paid they are. If you have a favorite celebrity, I'm not gonna say no names, there's one in particular I'm thinking of, and they haven't had an endorsement deal in years, they're probably broke. And I'm gonna leave that at that. Unless they own businesses and companies that are kept on the hush, 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 they're probably broke.
So this is an important distinction. Again, like if you look at somebody and the brand deals that they have, this would indicate how much money they actually make. Now, this is something that we saw with Will Smith. Once Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, he lost a lot of brand deals. Okay. And so this hurt him financially. Now, you already know his lifestyle is really up there. It's expensive. But to lose brand deals, which, I mean, again, I would assume that Saweetie has a lot of brand deals, or maybe she doesn't. But if you don't have those brand deals, and those brand deals pay a lot of money, it's kind of how you make cash in the industry. And so if you somehow lose that, you lose it all. Okay, and this is kind of what's happening with Saweetie. She doesn't really have brand deals, okay?
And man, see, people just don't learn. There's so many examples out there of what not to do, and there are examples out there of what to do. Kim Kardashian, man, she really, and you know, people be hating on Kim Kardashian, man. They don't give that girl enough credit, man, but Kim Kardashian has laid out so many blueprints on what to do to get to the money. She really done put it out there in front of everybody on what to do to get to the money. She's made it plain. Like, if you got some game and you're inclined, all you got to do is follow Kim Kardashian's blueprint. You might not be able to follow it as effectively as her, but let's just say you're Saweetie and you say, you know what, I'm going to do my best to, take a page out of Kim Kardashian's book and do as much of what she's done as I can. Saweetie will be banked up right now. People don't pay attention. Kim Kardashian, I don't know if she's even doing that anymore, but I remember at one point in time, man, Kim Kardashian was charging $2 million a post on Instagram. And if she is still charging people and still doing that type of thing, I'm sure it's probably way more now. This was some years ago. She was charging people $2 million to post on her Instagram. Like, come on now. And then not just that, but like, if you're a Saweetie, you know, you around all these industry people. A lot of those people got game. See, me, if I'm in that type of position, I'm not trying to be hanging out with artists. Unless they're an artist that's like on the same wavelength as me. Like if I'm hanging out with artists, I hang out with like a La Russell or Chance the Rapper, you know, people that's business minded. I'm not hanging out with rappers that just want to party and drink and get high all the time and blow a bunch of money. I'm not hanging out with y'all. I'm trying to hang out with the executives. I'm trying to learn what they know. That's what I'm on. Like, I'm not partying with y'all. No, don't invite me. I'm not coming. You know, just already know that if you do invite me, I'm not showing up.
If you don't have brand deals, you're not a podcaster, you're not really working a lot. You got to make that money because this industry for music is not really there. And, YouTubing is there, but YouTubing is hard. People can say, well, why don't you start a podcast? A lot of people have podcasts. It's still hard. It's not easy, doing this work every day. So, the quickest way to do that is, if you were going to sleep with somebody anyway, it was to go ahead on and basically pay to get the cheeks clapped. And it goes back to what the manosphere guys have always taught. That certain ladies are always for sale. It doesn't matter. Like, a lot of girls, you know what? Let me just say this. Fast forward. I know so many ladies who are IG influencers, especially in this part of the world. And again, they're like yacht girls. They out here, living it up. They may have a few brand deals, but trust me, like, they can barely pay their rent. They can barely pay for electricity. Mm-hmm. They need hair, they need makeup. They constantly have to live in that lifestyle, going to dinner, going to 4 Points. That might be going to dinner, going to hotels, things like that.
And then, a lot of these girls is lazy too, right? They don't know how to like cut expenses and things like that. That's just like me, for instance, right? I have not sat in a barber chair since I was probably like, I mean, well, I done sat in a barber chair. I'm talking about sat in a barber chair to get my hair cut. I have not sat in a barber chair to get a haircut 30 years for sure. Like, you know, because my sister, I got an older sister that used to be a barber back in the day. And I think she was the last barber that cut my hair. And that was probably like when I was like 14 or something like that. You know what I mean? Why? Because I learned how to cut my own hair, and I know how to cut my own hair, and that's an expense that I don't have to have, you know. So like, let's just say I was a famous rapper or something like that. I wouldn't have to worry about somebody cutting my hair and shit like that because I know how to do that myself. So if you a female and you know that for somebody else to do your hair is gonna be $600, $700, $800. To do your nails is gonna be $200 and all that type of stuff. Like, this is just my thinking. If I was in that type of position, I'm gonna learn how to do nails. I'm gonna learn how to do my own hair. I'm gonna learn how to do all that shit. So I don't have to have that expense, because you already know if you in the industry. Now, it might be certain instances where somebody else gonna have to do your shit, like if you doing tours and concerts and shit like that. But just on a regular though, like, you already know, like, if you're in the industry, the prices is gonna be ridiculous. Like them barbers that used to cut Puffy's hair, or barbers that probably cut 50 Cent hair and all that type of shit, man. Like, them barbers is getting paid a grip. You know? But yeah, man, that's what I would be on. But, you know, these people, they just ain't inclined. Like I said, they don't have no problem spending money, but they sure got a problem making it. And it's not hard to make it, they just don't want to.
Money to keep playing like that, you know, being out. And, you know, when you popping bottles, you buying Don Julio in the club, somebody got to pay for that. And somebody got to pay for their food every day. I mean, you get chicks that look so good and they're begging for KFC, like literally begging for KFC. You would never think that a chick that has a big following on TikTok or Instagram is that broke, but so many chicks don't really have money like that. And this is why, like, dudes who are consistent and they may have a good business, you would have a shot. Like, literally, if you were willing to pay, you would have a shot at these cheeks. I'm just being real. You would be able to go head on and get that clapping off. You might not think so, but oh yes, it happens a lot. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Dude Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.
Blind Adam.
Boy, you funny as hell. Boy, like Soulja Boy say, boy, if you don't sit your ass down, who the hell you think you is? Trey Taylor talking about that's why he never let us see the taper in the back. Boy, my taper in the back is together up. You know what I mean? Hold on. Let me see, man. Let me see if I can show y'all the taper in the back. I do all that, man. I learned how to cut my hair on myself. Then later on, I started cutting my brother's hair, and then I started cutting my homeboy's hair and shit like that. But man, I learned how to cut on myself. Talking about I don't let y'all see the back. Boy, if you don't knock it off, my back is cool. Yeah. Talking about I don't let y'all see the back. If you don't knock it off. I've been cutting the back of my head 30 years. You know? It's like, P, I'm just roasting a little. I know, man, I'm messing with you, man. But nah, you know, like I said, man, I've been doing this shit so long, man. That shit is like inhaling and exhaling, man. But, you know, on that same token, I know it's women out there that know how to do hair, to do their own hair. And that's an expense that they don't have to have. You know, it's women out there that know how to do their own nails. And that's an expense that they don't have to have. You know, so if you're in the entertainment business, that's just me, the way I think. I'll be thinking about cutting as many expenses as possible. That's just me. You know, and then I'm not a lazy individual, you know, I know that a lot of shit that if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. You know, now some people don't care how shit get done as long as they ain't got to do it. But me, myself, I don't like shit just being done. I like it being done right. And I know that when I do things, I don't just do things, I do it right. So that's why, you know, of course, I don't know how to do everything. You dig? But the things that I do know how to do, I'm going to do it myself, and I know it's going to get done right. You know? But you stupid, man. Trey Taylor, good looking with the $2 holla. Pardon me, P. Nah, man, you good, man. You know, one thing about Freeze, man, I'm the last person you gonna find is sensitive about anything, man. You know, you already know, man, how we get down over here, man. We roast, man. That shit ain't nothing. You dig? I be letting y'all roast me all the time. Just as long as I could get mine off too, you dig? Ray Gunn, good looking with the $5 holla. Why you stop giving the game perspective on the IG chicks and female rappers? It was a clever way to get your followers up. Ray Gunn, that you right about that, man, and I probably should get back to doing that. I actually enjoyed doing that. I know I ain't done it in a while, but I think I'm gonna get back to doing it though. I'm glad you mentioned that though. But good looking, man. James Pond, good looking with the $5 holla. Blessings and more life, man. I appreciate you. JB the Ghost, good looking with the $12 holla. Appreciate you, Freeze. Stay sharp, staying strong. Live long. Rest in power, Sinful to P. He is super proud of you, sir. Man, I appreciate that, man. Good looking. Yeah, man. But yeah, see, that just goes to show you, man, like, a lot of people be thinking real highly of these celebrities and shit like that. But just because somebody is famous don't mean they smart. Just because somebody is famous don't mean that they got themselves together. And just because somebody is famous don't mean they rich. So what you think about the verses between Cash Money and No Limit? I didn't watch the entire verses. P. Wine sent it to me, and that's how I started watching. And I think he sent it to me early on, right? But I didn't catch when Snoop came on. I think the last part of it that I saw was when BG was performing Cash Money is an Army. I think that was the last part I saw. But what I will say from what I did see, because everybody's saying how No Limit was better than Cash Money. I will say No Limit did seem like they was better prepared. They was better organized. Like, I like how everybody was uniformed with the Army fatigue, because that's what No Limit is known for. No Limit soldiers, Army fatigue. I like how they all came out like that. That was dope. Then when they brought Snoop out with the Army fatigue on, that was dope. You know, they was just way better prepared. And then, like, the closest thing to a Snoop Dogg on the Cash Money side would have been Lil Wayne. Then, like, Cash Money really, really tripped out playing a Millie with no Lil Wayne. How you gonna play a Millie and you have no Lil Wayne there? Lil Wayne ain't even in the building, and you gonna play a Millie? Like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, who y'all got? Like, y'all Cash Money Records, y'all got a catalog. Like, why would you do that? Y'all got a real catalog, even without Turk being there, and without Wayne being there. You know, and you know the whole Young Money crew, they wasn't there. Y'all still got a catalog, man. Just with BG, Juvenile, the big timers alone, y'all have a catalog, man. Like, why would you play that song and Wayne is not there? That was stupid. But, you know, this is what I'll say. The best part of the show for me was Mia X and Juvenile. Mia X killed it. Mia X killed it. That made me want to go back and listen to all the old No Limit shit again. You know what I mean? Mia X killed it. Juvenile killed it. Juvenile did his thing. He was like, it's like Juvenile put Cash Money on his shoulders and carried that shit by himself damn near, man. You know, because like Baby just seemed like he was high. Birdman was high out his mind. Manny Fresh was cool, but you know Manny Fresh ain't like a real like live performer like how Juvenile is, you know what I mean? BG just seemed like he was kind of like in La La Land, like la, 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 like I'm here, you know, this is cool, but like BG was like, man. Juvenile was the highlight of the Cash Money side, and Mia X was the highlight of the No Limit side. Both of them two right there made the whole thing worthwhile. You know, so Eric say, if anything, I would have played Bling Bling. They didn't play Bling Bling? R.I.P. Young Bleed. Young Bleed ain't dead. He was there. Hold on, man. Talking about R.I.P. Young Bleed. Young Bleed was there. Yeah, you tripping, man. Young Bleed ain't dead. Oh, wait. What? Oh, he was in a car crash. Damn. Damn, man, that's crazy. Young Bleed was just there. God damn, man, that shit is crazy. Man, I hope Young Bleed pulled through, man. I like the shit that he just did, man. He just did a song with 187 Hutch. From Above the Law, man. They just did a song together that was cool, man. They took that old Eazy-E beat, man. Damn, man. That's crazy, man. Young Bleed was just at the show. He just performed How You Do That there. He just performed that shit, man. That's crazy. God damn, man. Bleed was in ICU after the show. Wait, so he got into an accident in Vegas? Let's see, man. Let's see what's going on. Man, that's crazy. Damn, man, that's... Damn. After performing at Cash Money No Limit Versus, Young Bleed now fighting for life in ICU. Master P has confirmed Young Bleed is still battling in the hospital and pleading with his millions of followers to pray for the rapper. Baton Rouge rapper Young Bleed is currently in an ICU in serious condition, just days after having the world shout How You Do That there during his grand appearance at Complexicon. Bogus media reports pronounced the 47-year-old rapper dead on Tuesday. Oh yeah, so that's why you thought that, Eric, because it's people on the internet lying about that shit, but I guess he's still fighting. But Young Bleed's sister Tidra sent out a defiant message on behalf of his family, stating that he was still alive in the ICU. Bleed's mom says she was inundated with calls and social media posts from people in mourning after the fake news spread online. See, that's the type of shit that I hate, man. And that's what I like. People on the internet just be so cowardly, man. That's the shit that I don't like. You don't think about how somebody's mama might be affected by that type of shit, how somebody's kids might be affected, and all that type of stuff, man. His mama got to see all this nonsense from dumbass people on the internet. So she and the rest of Bleed's family demanded everyone stop reaching out to her and posting RIP messages. On Saturday, Bleed was full of energy when he performed his signature. Yeah, he was, man. I ain't gonna lie. I seen people, because, you had young people in the comments who don't, they don't know who Young Bleed is. They probably done heard the song before. But, Young Bleed, he was jumping up and down on the stage. He was like, how you do that, Dad? He had the microphone, and he was just, man, you would have thought Young Bleed was like Michael Jordan or something, the way that boy had hops. He was bouncing up and down on the stage. And people was in the comment section of the live, they was like, man, who is that jumping up and down? They was like, who is that jumping up and down, man? Why is he jumping up and down like that? They didn't know that was Young Bleed. Plus, back in the day, Young Bleed had long hair. He got short hair now. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, he was doing his thing, man. I was sparked when he started performing that shit. How you do that? Like, Master P was messing up because he started singing the hook in the middle of Bleed's verse. But Bleed's such a good performer, though. He just kept rapping through that shit. And then Master P caught on. He was like, oh, shit, it ain't time to sing the hook yet. See, I pay attention to everything, man. I remember all that shit, man. Bleed was rapping his verse. And Master P started singing the hook in the middle of his verse. But then Master P did catch himself, though. He caught himself and realized, oh, shit, the verse ain't over with yet. Let me wait. And then Bleed finished his verse. And then Master P was start singing the hook afterwards. But yeah, man, Bleed was jumping up and down. Eric, you remember that shit? Bleed was jumping high as hell too, man. I was like, damn, Bleed, for him to be, in his upper 40s, man, he got hops. Bleed knees is still on point, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I hope Bleed pulled through, man. I hate that for him, man. I hate that he had to go through that, man. Yeah, like Don Supreme said, if Mystical was there, the verses would have been over. Oh, yeah, you already know, man. If Mystical would have been able to be there, man. And see, Wayne is cool, man, but like, I don't know, man. Like, Wayne ain't the same Wayne. Like, that shit that they did in Louisiana around the Super Bowl time. I don't know, man. Wayne just don't have that same, he don't have that same spark no more. I think Mystical do, though. Like, if Mystical would have been there, especially that it ain't my fault, make him say, all that shit, man. Here I go. Oh, my goodness. If Mystical could have performed Here I Go, yeah, man, like, it would have been over. I agree with that, man. If Mystical could have been there, or if Soulja Slim could have been there, rest in peace, man. Just imagine if Soulja Slim could have been there, man. That would have been cold. Right, the man right here. Here I go. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom, doom. Man, that shit would have been hard, man. Why they got Mystical locked up, man? Damn. Free Mystical, man. Free C Murder, too. Because even though Snoop was able to perform F the Mother Ninjas, Man, rest in peace, Magic too, man. If Magic would have been able to be there, man, that would have been cold, man. Damn, there's so many people gone, man. Yeah, if Magic would have been there, Magic was slept on, man. Magic was hard, man. He was one of my favorite on No Limit, man. A lot of people don't know about Magic, but Magic was dope. And then I like Fiend too. Fiend was there. But yeah, I like Magic and I like Fiend. Those was like two of the like, and then Mac was dope too. I like Mac too. Of course, Mac was there, but yeah, rest in peace, Magic, man. But if Magic and C Murder could have been there, man, that shit would have been dope, man. Snoop shut it down with that 90s vibe. Yeah, that was cool that Snoop pulled up. Right. I agree with you, Ray Gunn. That was a good point that Eric made. Birdman is a boss, Master P is a leader. You can see the difference. Yeah, because Master P did lead that whole situation, like how everybody was organized, everybody was up there representing the right way. You know what I mean? Like if I was Birdman, right? First of all, if I was Birdman, I would have made sure that Wayne was there, and I would have made sure that Turk was there. Cause it's like whatever like issues y'all got, man, straighten that shit out. I know Turk was saying something about the money was funny and all that. Straighten that shit out, man. And then, but whatever the case, like I said, I would have made sure that Turk was there. I would have made sure that Wayne was there, and we would have been draped in the old school Cash Money shit. Everybody would have had bandanas on their elbows, bandanas around their neck, bandanas on their ankles and knees. You know how Cash Money used to do, man. They used to have bandanas all over the place. We would have been like that. You know what I mean? We just would have been representing the right way. You know, like Cash Money got a certain image that they known for, just like No Limit got a certain image that they known for. And if I was Birdman, I would have made sure that we was out in Cash Money form. You know, see, people get older, they get money, they get comfortable and all that type of shit, and they think that just because they got these songs that, you know, it's gonna be good enough. But no, man, like, give the people like your all. Give the people your best. And then you doing this for New Orleans, you represent your city, man. Like, and then it's the first time Cash Money, the whole Cash Money and the whole No Limit is on stage together. Like, you supposed to represent that shit right. Like I said, if I was Birdman, I would have made sure that Wayne was there. I would have made sure that Turk was there, and we would have did that shit right. You know what I mean? Like, all the originals would have been there. Hot Boys, Big Timers, we all would have been there, and we would have been dressed accordingly. You know, everybody with the Air Force Ones, because you know Cash Money used to wear the Air Force Ones and shit. We just would have been out there right. But right. Exposing the truth. Wayne and Turk had the hardest bars on most of all the Hot Boy songs. Yeah, man, it's like it's hard to do certain shit without them, man. It's just hard to do certain shit without them. Or Reeboks, my bad, excuse me. I said Air Force Ones. Yeah, Reeboks. They used to wear the white Reebok Classics. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody would have had the white Reebok Classics on with the white tees and the bandanas everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you were supposed to do that shit. You got a lot of bold jeans, huh? You keep your body clean, huh? Like, man. Don Supreme said Juvenile, real gangster. He had to battle the whole No Limit by himself. He pretty much did, man, because like Manny Fresh tried. He was like Manny Fresh out besides Juvenile, Manny Fresh was the like most coherent one. He just not a high energy type of dude. You know what I mean? Like Manny Fresh can't perform the way a Juvenile can. You know what I mean? Like he can't carry the show like that. But Manny Fresh was cool. Manny Fresh did his thing. He was cool. But Baby, no. He didn't he was too damn high. He seemed like he was gonna fall asleep in the middle of some of his verses and shit. Like, got everything. But I stay fly. 'Cause all my money spent. That's how Birdman was looking up there. Birdman was up there looking like that. You know what I mean? Eric say them white Reebok Classics is a Cali staple. That's real shit because back in the 90s, man, and see back then you get a pair of Reebok Classics for $30. Sometimes they be on sale for 2 for 1. You get two. You go to the Reebok outlet back in the day, man, and get two pairs of Reebok Classics for $30. Man, them was the days, man. Hell yeah. I used to stay with a pair of white pair of Reebok Classics. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I gotta show y'all. I got receipts, man. I'm talking about. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull that shit up real quick, man. Freeze with the Reebok Classics in the 90s, man. Let's see if I can pull that shit up real quick, man. Show y'all Freeze wasn't playing back in the day, man. Let me see, man. But yeah, pretty much, man. Juvenile held it down for the Cash Money side. No Limit as a whole was better, but Mia X was really the highlight of their side, man. I liked how Mia X did her thing, man. She represented accordingly. And see, you know, Mia X don't really get talked about like that when people talk about the best female rappers and female rappers with bars and shit like that. But man, Mia X got bars. I always liked Mia X from the first time I heard I'm Bout It. Bout It. Like when I first heard that shit, that was my first time hearing Mia X, you know, back in 95. When I heard Mia X for the first time, I already knew she was hard. I was like, damn, this chick, she dope. You know what I mean? But she don't really get talked about in them conversations of like who's the best rappers. But she dope, man. She been had bars. Always had bars. Always been dope. And still a good performer. You know, a lot of people get older, man, and they don't perform. Obviously, like look at Birdman. Look at Wayne. You know, some people get older and they don't have that same caliber of performance as they did when they was younger. But Mia X still could perform though. She still get on stage and rip that shit, do her thing. Shout out to Mia X, man. I'm glad she's still here too, man. I remember a few years ago, or probably more than a few years ago, but some years back, Mia X was going through some little health problems of her own. I can't remember if she had like cancer or something. She had some type of health issues that she was going through, man. It wasn't looking good for her, but she pulled through, man. I'm so glad she pulled through because she's still here, you know. Hi, here we go. Told y'all I wasn't playing, man. Told y'all Pimp wasn't playing, man. Look at Young Freeze with the white Reebok Classics on, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. 1997 though, with the Reebok Classics on and the Timberland sweater on. That's a Timberland sweater. I can't remember what kind of jeans them is. But yeah, man. With the white Reebok Classics. Let me see who liked this shit, man. Okay. But yeah, man. Them Reebok Classics right there, those was the shit. Those was the shit. That's Young Freeze right there, man. 16 years old, man. Couldn't tell a pimp nothing, dog. Class of 97, dig that. Race Green, dig that. Yeah, I'm class of 2000 myself. When you took the picture, did you have any link in your spirit that you ever become a P? Nah, man, at that time, I wasn't thinking about no pimping, man. Like 16 years old. Oh, yeah, for sure. Don Supreme, like, you know, to me, like, that's like recent years as far as like VIP not being around. But Don Supreme asked, was VIP Records still around in Long Beach when you were coming up? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Freeze looking like he from Bompton. But what Sinful used to say? Paru. No, 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 no. But nah, you got to keep in mind, man, like my era coming up in the 90s in Long Beach and just throughout LA County, you know, the thing to do was either you played sports, you did music, or you danced or something like that, which I did music. I was heavy into the rapping. You was in that scene, or you was like a player type dude. I was in that scene too. Me and my partners used to go link up with girls all the time, go to house parties and shit like that. Or you was gang banging. You know, it wasn't really like no strong pimp influences around like that. You know, it was some, but you know, it would probably have to be through like maybe you lived by some pimping, or you know, you had a family member that was some pimping. But me, I didn't have no gang related influences around me throughout my childhood like that. I didn't. You know, so yeah, back then at that time, man, pimping was the furthest thing from my mind. Right, like Eric say, rap, scrap, mac, trap, bang. You know. Now there was some of that going on, some macking going on, you know. That's kind of like just a West Coast thing, man, you know. West Coast dude gonna get at some ladies, you know what I mean, and you know, do some Mac type player type shit. But yeah, in LA County back then, you know, the pimping wasn't like really, I would imagine that it was much more of a secret society back then. Right, like Face Card Black saying in Memphis, the spirit of pimping was omnipresent. Yeah, I believe that. Either you sold crack or you was pimping. People hated pimps back in the 90s. I'm sure they did, man. Because, you know, gangbanging was in full swing. And I could just imagine a lot of them Crips and Bloods and all that type of shit. I'm sure a whole lot of pimping was knocking them for their sisters, knocking them for their girlfriends, baby mamas was getting set out there, you know, all type of shit. Like, I know the pimping was hated like crazy back then. Especially in LA, they would hate and rob them. Yeah, I'm sure back then a lot of that was going on. I didn't see no pimp until Pimps Up. I was like 13. Yeah, you know, I seen them documentaries, but that didn't influence me to get in the game, man. And you know, it was crazy. And I've told this story before, but I had a chick, man, when I was 18 years old, this girl that I was messing with, she probably was supposed to be my first chick in the game. And she was a square. But I remember she introduced me to the Iceberg Slim book, Pimp. I read that back then. This when I was 18 years old. And then also when I was 18 years old, this same girl that introduced me to the Iceberg Slim book introduced me to American Pimp. And I remember sitting at her mama's house watching American Pimp with her. And then later on, she ended up working at the Barbary Coast, which for those of y'all who ain't familiar with the Barbary Coast, that's a strip club in Gardena, which is, you know, Los Angeles area. You know, so it was all kind of signs, but you know, this was just my little chick that I was with at the time. You know, and being lovey-dovey with and all that. But at the time, it was like a lot of indications that I don't know if she necessarily like wanted to get in the game like that, but she was fascinated by the game. And if I wanted to get in the game like that, she probably would have been all the way with it. You know what I mean? It was a few times, man, in my younger days before I got in the game that the game came knocking on my door, but I just didn't hear it knocking or see it knocking. And that was one of them times. James says, that's crazy because in the Bay Area, people hated gangbangers and loved pimps like Jesus Christ back in the 90s. Yeah, I could believe that. You know, the pimp culture in the Bay, man, it's just, it's always been more ingrained in who people are in the Bay. You know, that's just always been more of a thing up there. And, you know, you got a good amount of pimping that was going on back in the days in Southern California too. But the gang banging just had a hold on more of us. And when I say us, I just mean people from Southern California, not me in particular. But the gang banging just had a hold on more of us down there than the pimping. You know what I mean? I was listening to Sugar Free since the womb. Wasn't paying attention till later on in life. For sure. Third Street, baby, LA. You dig? Right, hitting chicks that should have been with the 305 with the horn. Man, when I reflect back to, you know, chicks that I was just having fun with when I was young, man, when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, a lot of chicks that I was just having fun with back then, man, a whole bunch of them was supposed to be in the game. Man. My dumb ass, I was just having fun with them, but I think back like, yeah, you was supposed to be in the game. You was supposed to be in the game. Both of y'all was supposed to be in the game. All of y'all was supposed to be in the game. You was supposed to be in the game. Like, yeah. Eric say, yeah, my folks was outside banging and dealing. Ism didn't appear till NorCal started to get some light. Yeah, you know, same here. You know, a lot of my friends was, I had a lot of friends that was gang banging and selling dope and shit like that. But like I said, me, I was into the rapping, so that was my scene. You know, I'm going to like battle sessions. You know, whenever it's a house party going on, we forming a circle in the corner and having freestyle battles and shit like that. Uh, you know, doing talent shows, all that type of that's what I was into as a teenager. I was into the rapping. You know what I mean? Me and my partners, we had a crew called the Funk Foundation. You know, they was all mostly from the north side, but of course me, I was from the east side. But I damn near was like an honorary north side dude because I stayed on the north side all the time. Like more of my friends was from the north side. Well, I ain't gonna say more of my friends, but the people that I was tightest with, I'll say that. During them times, like the people that I was tightest with was on the north side. So I was on the north side every day. You know what I mean? But you know, we was into the music shit. We wasn't none of us like into gang banging and shit like that. So you know, some of us was like a few of my partners that was in the music shit, they kind of was like affiliated, but they wasn't just outside really gang banging like that. We was all more into the music than anything. So yeah, that's what I was on, man. I remember, man. See, back then, in the late 90s, early 2000s, like how everybody got home studios now, everybody got a laptop with Pro Tools on it and a cool microphone and shit like that, and you could put out some quality music. See, back then, all that type of shit was so expensive. Like the average kid in the hood, we didn't have like real music equipment like that. But I remember, man, in 1997, the homie Cam, my brother Cam on the north side, aka Demon Dog, Demon D, he had got a 2-track recorder, man. Boy, this is the old school days, man. And we was working magic with that little 2-track recorder. This is a 2-track recorder, which means you really only got 2 tracks. So the entire beat got to be on 1 track, and all of the vocals have to be on the second track, which means all of us would rap on 1 track. We had different verses and shit like that, but we'll all be rapping on 1 track. You know what I mean? Then later on, different people. So I had 2 different crews that I used to mess with, right? The Funk Foundation was my peoples on the north side, but then I had a homie named Rick Cabana that I went to Lakewood High School with, and Rick was my Cuban homeboy that did beats and rapped. You know what I mean? But Rick was vicious with them beats. You know what I mean? Just like Cam was. Cam was vicious with the beats. The homie Daytone, vicious with the beats, and the homie Rick, vicious with the beats, right? So I used to be with Rick too. And we used to go over Rick's house in Lakewood. And I remember when Rick had got a 4-track recorder. And man, we just thought we was on the moon when we got the 4-track recorder, man, because now we got 4 tracks. What? Man, we was on the moon with that little 4-track recorder. Then we started recording songs at Rick's parents' house, you know what I mean, with the 4-track recorder. You dig? So, yeah, that's the good old days, man. Those was like, in them days, man, you couldn't tell me shit. I thought I was the greatest person to ever walk the planet to touch a microphone. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was battling anybody who wanted to battle. You know what I mean? Even though my big bro Kane, you know, who now goes by BYG, but back then he was Hurricane G. You know what I mean? The homie Kane, you know, he was he was like one of them people that could fade me in a battle. But other than him, man, then once we got on the same team and we was, man, I was battling whoever wanted to battle, man. So them was the good old days, man. Them house party ciphers made a man out of MCs. Eric Garrett, that's what I'm saying, man. Like that's what we used to do, man, in the 90s and the early 2000s. When it was house parties going on, we forming a circle, man, and we freestyling and shit like that. That was the good old days. I'm from Louisiana. Tell me, who did Master P hook up with in the West Coast? That's a good question. The incomparable King Hezekiah, the 16th. So when Master P was doing his thing in the early days on the West Coast, Richmond, California, he like E40 in that I hope I don't go back to slanging yayo when he was like, I got the game from my Uncle St. Charles. That's who Master P got his game from too. You know what I mean? E40's Uncle St. Charles, you know what I mean? Like he gave Master P the game. And then, Master P start messing with a lot of Bay Area cats. He was messing with EA Ski back in the day. He was messing with Seabo and them back in the day. Who else was Master P messing with from the Bay back in the day? I want to say he got stuff with the Delinquents back in the day too, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, P was messing with a lot of them Bay Area dudes back in the day. Oh yeah, JT the Bigger Figure. How could I forget that? Yep. And of course E40, yeah. Master P had some dope shit though, man. Of course, like I didn't get hip to Master P in real time until Bout It. But later on, when I went back and listened to that old school shit that he was making in the Bay Area, I was like, this shit is hard. You know what I mean? It's some other people, man, that I'm trying to remember that he had stuff with, man. He had some stuff with other people. Oh, the incomparable King Hezekiah say, I remember EA Ski. Yeah, EA Ski is slept on, man. Cold with the beats and the rapping. But yeah, EA Ski, he's still dope. EA Ski still putting out dope right now. Was not Sir Charles, St. Charles. What St. Charles tell him? He just gave him the game as far as like the like basically. So St. Charles used to have a record store in the Bay Area back in the day, right? And I want to say he had a studio in the record store as well, but for sure he had the record store back in the day, so. And then St. Charles, I believe he had connections with like distribution companies that distributed people's music and stuff like that, right? So I think he imparted a lot of that game and probably even connections to Master P. He definitely imparted that game to E40 and the Click and all of them, But St. Charles, he was just like an elder dude in the Bay Area back then that a lot of people looked up to and got game from. You know what I mean? So, right, y'all remember 11.5 and Cold World Hustlers out of Frisco for sure. Hell yeah. Right, just like VIP in Long Beach. He was kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like Calvin, or Kelvin in VIP in Long Beach. That's I guess you could say like St. Charles was kind of like the equivalent in the Bay. You know what I mean? Ron Trail say peace freeze from HTX. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, if you go back and listen to that old school underground masterpiece shit from like before he blew up, when he was in the Bay, selling tapes out the trunk, like a lot of that shit was hard, man. Not saying the mainstream No Limit shit wasn't good. That shit was dope too, but he had some dope underground shit too. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing on up because I still want to see if I can find me a cool little restaurant around here, man, to go have some birthday lamb or some birthday bison or something like that, you know what I mean? So did I shout everybody out? Yeah, I did. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing on up, man. But in a nutshell, man, you know, as far as the Saweetie situation, there's always more than meets the eye. And she's a prime example of somebody who has all the potential and potential in the world, but thinks so small that no matter how big the potential is, she gonna stay doing small shit. You know, she got the potential to do some big things, but she gonna stay doing small shit because how you see is how you gonna be. If you see small things, then you gonna be small things, you dig? But go ahead and wrap this thing on up, man. Let me put some more love in my body on the way out. Listen, man, if you ain't wiped your feet off at the door when you stepped into a pimp's domain, please do so on your way out. Hit that like button. And as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. I appreciate all the comments, questions, input, jokes, feedback, all that good stuff. I appreciate you for sharing this video. I appreciate you for subscribing. I appreciate you for hitting the bell when you subscribe. I appreciate all the super chats, the cash apps, the PayPals. I appreciate all the birthday love. I appreciate all your support in every which way that you comes with it, man. Y'all already know who it is and what it is. Freeze is it. If you out in traffic moving around, please do so in a safe fashion. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out.